Hey guys, and welcome. I started this layout with those photo corners. I'm going to use them as arrows, and then I have these photo layers or paper layers that I'm just going to stick this photo on. These are from the previous layout. I just started building them and then decided I didn't like where it was going for that layout and kept it for this, for a layout. It just happened to be this one that worked out. I'm trying to pick a title. There's quite a few titles, even though I only got the main kit. And I go with this Let's Go. I think it works out of all of them. It's it's the end of winter soccer, end of soccer season match, end of season party. That's what I'm saying. And the dads versus the kids in a soccer game at the park. So that was a fun little moment. Captured in time and just... really sweet and love you and sunny and stuff didn't go with it. So Let's Go is going to be my title. Fits very well as such. I'm going to put some fun foam here between the layers. Sometimes I put them at the end of the layers. Other times I like to do this and put it here in between, which means that last layer is going to have that shadowy depth to it rather than it all being one and all. So adding that on, and then I'm going to start adding it to my page. The only thought I had was these photo corners will be fun to use as like chevrons, as arrows, and that would be a good way to start. So that's how it's going. I do rip some paper here and add it as a bottom layer. Just going to add it in from the edges. I don't want it going from one end to the next end. I wanted it to be sitting in the middle of the white cardstock as such, and that helps later because I border the page. It wasn't my intention. I just thought I didn't want it to be sitting. I thought it would be too long looking having it end to end and then having the photo cluster in the middle. So that's my thinking behind that. For ages I was trying to work out how the Let's Go could fit in that formation. Then I realized I could it's two words. I could pull it apart and it could sit in a line. It doesn't need to be above each other. I don't know, sometimes tell me I'm not the only one, but sometimes I do things like that. I'm like, why didn't you think of that to start with? Why does it have to be just because it's stuck on a sticker sheet that way to fit into with all the other stickers? Why does it have to stay that way on your paper? Anyway, I got there in the end. It looks much better in a line here on my photo, and I'm going to stick in these photos corners as a cluster next to the title. So I'm just layering 3 up on each side, right in front of each other, on top of each other. Sounds like my son's bringing something up the hallway that's going to be a little bit noisy. Hopefully it's not the case at all. So you can see here, just building them up. So you don't always have to use a particular item for what it's specified as such. So these are photo corners, and yes, in the last video I used one as a photo corner, but it doesn't mean that everyone, and it doesn't mean you can't as well, because they do look really cool. I think photo layers were something that everyone did back in the day, I think, and it's just something we don't do often or at all anymore. So it was a nice little throwback that we could use. I'm going to add 2 of these exclusive strips here. One's got stars on it and one's got arrows. Just like that little pop of something at the top of the photo there. And that's going to be the start of a cluster, even though for now I think that's going to be all it adds, just like adding layers behind my photo. So here we go. I'm going to add some... Oh, I was going to add journaling. I thought I was adding journaling first, but nope. A double doodly border around the edges first. Just using a fine liner pen. Just one I found at Woolies for $2 or something. I was trying to find... I don't think they sell the really thin Sharpies anymore. I don't know what's with Sharpie anymore. Like, they seem to be discontinuing the things that we all like to use. And that's not very good at all. Anyway, I found this one instead and hoped that it would work the same, and it does, thankfully. So I'm just writing my journaling under here in 3 lines. I do write it in capital letters, and I found that worked I felt much nicer. My last layout, if you watched my video last week, I found my journaling just, I don't know if it was just the position or whether it was my writing or what. I really didn't like it. Instead, this week I like the way it's sitting and the way it looks. I do decide to backtrack and take off these photo corner arrows, and I'm going to add them here around, and that just builds out my my design on the page. I'm going to have quite a bit of white space, but I don't want to have all the white space in the world. So I'm going to add 2 in, like 2 each section. So I'm going to have 3 sections of 2, and these ones over here are going to overlap with 2 more, or 2 more are going to overlap at that left hand side there. Just think it looks really nice, just something different. It looked nice on the photo too, bordering the title, but I found this looks much better, and it spreads out the design, helping that look. So I'm going to add this Charms Creations. I really love Charms Creations, and I was thinking I was going to hoard it, but I do have already a lot in my stash, so I do not need to hoard it. I'm going to chuck it on there and love it. So as I'm holding that down, I just use my wet glue to put it down. As I'm holding, I'm just pulling out some hearts, a silver one and a blue one, and find a spot for them, and they're going to go down here. And then it just needed something in between there, between the hearts and the other chevrons, and this works really well. That's sweet. The size fit really well, but the word does not fit well. So instead I go with this happy, and I find a couple of 2 other phrase ephemera pieces and build a little cluster there, and that's gonna fill that blank space there. It was like trapped space between the 2 arrows. I didn't have any more journaling to write. If I did, that would be the perfect thing to put there, but because I didn't have any more journaling, it was just like I said, really simply a photo of dads versus kids at a end of season soccer celebration. Not much to say at all. So on goes these phrases instead, and that's going to finish it off pretty much. Do a couple more things and then it is finished. We'll go to the close-ups, but just checking if there's any more words that I want, if there was going to fill in that space near the hearts there on the right. Instead I go with this word that says details, or this sticker that says details, and I put it up there on the heart, and then I add a puffy or epoxy heart on top of it to finish that cluster off. So I get out my pen because I think I'm going to just fill that little space there with some journaling, but I didn't know, and I couldn't remember what month it was. I couldn't be bothered pulling my album out to find out. Maybe when I put it away I might write, like August 2018 or whatever month it is. While I've got my pen out, I do lightly border the chevron arrows, photo corners, whatever we're calling them today, and that just gives them a little pop off the page. I find if I've got my pen handy, I'll border everything. So you're lucky, or I'm lucky I guess, that I didn't border my strip behind my photo today, because it didn't need it at all. Anyway, here's the close-ups, and I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I shall catch you next week's video. See you later, guys. Bye.